Thank you very much. Actually, on the contrary, I'm almost tempted to say that I promise you, Tracy and I did not collaborate on our homework, because you're going to see a lot of very, very recurrent themes coming up in my presentation, albeit perhaps with not quite so many zeros on the end. But one of the things I think that's come up repeatedly this afternoon is the importance of fan-based media in OTT and fan-based media in sports. And this is definitely our perspective. We are not creating video entertainment for a mass market. We are going after a very specific niche, but we really firmly believe that if you do create the right product for a scalable niche, it can't be too small, something that people spend time and money on, then they will be willing to pay for that content. And we believe that the monetization of content is absolutely essential. So to tell you a little bit about the horse and country audience, you need to think about horses as being like a mass participation sport, okay? So think cycling or triathlon rather than football. Most of the people who are involved in horses are involved in some way in which they actually participate. They might not be competitive or even seek to compete, but they are involved. It's part of their lives. It's part of one of the things that truly identifies who they are. And this often drags, in a willing sense or an unwilling sense, various parts of their family with them. So it is a mass participation sport. It is overwhelmingly female. In television terms, it's a young audience, but it's a true community of interest that ranges from 4 to as far as you want to go. There are still people competing in equestrian sports at the Olympics in their 60s. They're very digitally savvy and quite a high net worth community on the whole. And most of them are not interested in other sports and spend about 50% of their leisure time on their horses. This is data from the global governing body of the sport. So how do we approach this? So we're very much a multi-platform approach. We have a number of pay TV channels. We actually currently run 5 channels, and we're about to launch a 6th one next month in a fairly large market to the west of here. We run 5 channels because localization is absolutely essential to our concept of fandom. So our channels have local language production within them in places like the Netherlands, Germany, and Sweden, and localization of English language content. But we also see a huge opportunity for us on OTT platforms. We already have 2 platforms on Amazon, 2 channels rather on Amazon Video. We're launching channels on Roku, on Samsung Smart TV's platform, and a whole variety of others that you're going to see popping out over the coming few months. As well as that, we have direct-to-consumer services as well via website and mobile apps. And why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this because, the way in which video content is being consumed is changing. The device landscape is changing, and the amount of OTT content that is being consumed on 10-foot devices in living rooms via OTT devices or set-top boxes is not just growing, the growth rate is actually accelerating, whereas the amount of OTT content that people are watching on their computers is going nowhere fast. So I think that this is very much an indication that OTT is a disruption that is going mainstream. It's just another way of delivering the content, folks. And so you need to be able to get your content onto all of these platforms. And increasingly, again, this is a percentage that is going up. The amount of linear TV that is being watched over the top in living rooms is a growing portion of the market. So one of the facts that we're seeing is a tremendous amount of fragmentation. Fragmentation not just in terms of platforms, but also in terms of the content that's available to watch. There are, at the current time, over 200 different OTT video services available in the United States. Now, I personally don't see that as being sustainable, but I do see it as being a good sign of the rapid growth and expansion phase of an industry that is here to stay. Of these, this is from an Ofcom report, these graphics. These are services that are available in the United Kingdom. I won't make you do the math, but this adds up to 300%, more or less. And so on average, people are using 3 services. Many of these are free, obviously, but most of them have some kind of tiering or some sort of way in which people are moved from freemium to premium or through some kind of a paywall. And we think that this is really, really important because sooner or later, someone's got to pay for it. And I think as Facebook is irrevocably demonstrating to us right now, if it's free, then that means you're the product. So for us, being multi-platform is absolutely critical. We want to be at every possible retail touch point for our customers, regardless of platform and regardless of device. So for a niche proposition and also for a small team, such as we have at this time, then it means that operationally, you actually need to have a better mousetrap. So here's my mousetrap. I'm not going to make you read the dots off the page, but basically, I'm going to walk you through this. The left side is the production and contribution, which includes live. So we do not run a 24/7 sports channel. Sports is just part of the content that we offer. However, we do bring live into our schedule, and we do that through a variety of different forms of contribution. It can come down from satellite, it can come through RTMP stream, it can come through HLS stream, it can be behind the paywall, in front of the paywall, on the website, in the broadcast stream. Really doesn't matter. We need to be able to do all of that. We then process content through our operations team. We use a classic linear scheduling software, but we now have to produce a lot of other data besides. And then we are playing out and distributing our channels through the cloud and increasingly moving in that direction. So contribution, the key points are, it is multi-source, it's coming in from all over the place, but it is file-based. We do not touch one piece of physical media, and we do also integrate live events. In scheduling and asset management, we produce not only multiple EPGs and frame rate accurate playlists for linear channels, but also increasingly a volume of metadata, which is not just asset ID, it's also program title, it's program description, it's the publicity stills that need to go onto SVOD services, it's genre categorization, it's rights windows, it's all that kind of stuff. We are now, as I said, we've been outputting through the cloud in a kind of edge of network architecture for several years. We were actually really early to the party with this technology, but we are in the process of overhauling our network technology, and we are actually going to be playing out all of our channels within Amazon Web Services managed cloud, and then delivering those via a Zixi platform over the public internet to various different drop points in a variety of different countries. This enables us to produce both broadcast quality SDI feeds and HLS streams for our OTT services. So now we've got the ability to produce content. How do we get people to come and view our content? So we really think of the business in terms of being a kind of audience funnel. And at the top of the funnel, we have very light touch, easy to come and hang with us, easy to go, no commitment type of media. Mainly on web and social media, where we touch several million people a month at present. This is generally free to the user, but we monetize it through some degree of advertising and sponsorship. And then we try to bring people down and get them more engaged with us, bring them through the various gates of engagement, watching our linear channels. Perhaps they have a package already on Ziggo where our channel is available, or they can get it on Sky. We bring them in through our mobile apps, we bring them in through streaming and VOD services, and then we try to bring them down into the sweet spot of monetization, where people are actually willing to come across the paywall and subscribe to our services. So essentially, what that looks like is taking the people who, the 2.75 million people who were touched by our video last year of Olympic gold medal winning show jump rider Nick Skelton retiring his top horse at the Royal Windsor Horse Show, and bring more of those people down to this paywall. This is the landing page of our channel on Amazon Video, where we hope that they will come and spend a bit more time and a bit more money with us. So in conclusion, we think that the OTT environment offers tremendous opportunity for hyper-enthusiast networks, but you have to check a lot of boxes. You have to not just identify and connect with your audience, but you have to woo them, you have to bring them into your space, and you have to do this across many platforms and devices. Live is very important. Live sports is very important in fan-based media, and we believe that live is not dead, and neither is linear, for that matter. So using a cloud-centric model with heterogeneous contribution and output is what enables us to square the circle on touching all of these people across all of these devices and all of these platforms. And there I'm 1 minute and 3 seconds over time. I'm happy to take your questions.
Anybody have a question? We have a question here. We can, microphone's right there.
Hi, my name is Andrew Corbett, and I come from the States, work on a video streaming platform in the music space. But I wanted to say to you and the other panelists in this section, I thought these were great reports, so I very much appreciate it. Just on your audience funnel slide, assuming the dollar signs were revenue, how would you look at how would you match the cost against getting that the acquisition of that audience? Is it proportionate in reverse, or are there particular areas?
That's a very good question. The dollar signs, I think, represent monetization per user, if I can put it that way. So at the bottom of the audience funnel, particularly in an enthusiast sport like equestrian, there is a piece of our market for whom this kind of video information or video archive in particular it's almost like their Bloomberg machine. It's like must-have business information. So a certain number of people are really willing to pay quite a good amount of money to receive that information. But there aren't so many of them. The people who are willing to pay something in order to get, a pay-per-view of some event, or in order to watch a particular show that's coming onto our networks, that's a larger number of people, but you're not going to get as much money out of them. In terms of the actual cost, we don't really think about it that way, to be honest. It's all just one big machine, and I think that all of the different parts need to work together in order to create a profitable business model. So that's the reason that it's essential to have a unified workflow, because if you have to re-architect your workflow and think about, oh, now I need to do this platform, I need to get another 27 people over here completely reproducing the wheel every time, then you are going to have to think about what your gross margin is on this platform or that platform. We try to actually produce for every platform from a single repository of content with as simple and unified a workflow as possible. And I think that that's part of the key to success.
Heather, I have a quick question as well, which is, I guess the challenge for hyper-enthusiast networks like yours, when you talked about the direct-to-consumer model, is you're competing in marketing terms with Netflix or Amazon or broadcasters that have great traction. You mentioned the Amazon channels model, the sort of aggregator model. How important do you think that will be for the sort of more niche specialist D2C offerings?
Well, I think there's two ways to answer that question. One is that obviously, when Netflix have massive resources, and when someone arrives at Netflix, the homepage of Netflix website, they know exactly what they're there for, they know exactly what the proposition is, they know exactly what's going to happen when they click Start Free Trial. So we're not in a position to do that. We have to create more of an ecosystem in which we produce snackable content that is easily comestible, shareable, likable, that develops and builds our bona fides with our audience and starts to create a relationship which ultimately will bring them across the paywall. The other point is that because we have a pretty good idea of where our people hang out, we can use affiliate marketing models very successfully. And this is maybe those sharp edge of the wedge for specialist video propositions as opposed to massive scale feeds like Netflix. But there was something else I was going to say about the importance of aggregation. Yeah, definitely. Supermarkets are successful because they offer convenience and choice to the consumer. We continue to believe very much in the power of aggregation. People are going to continue to want to go to those content supermarkets. The name over the shingle is changing or might change. But when people go to a place where they know they're there to consume content and they know they're there to buy content, then you get them into the barbershop 6 days in a row. On the 7th day, they're going to get a haircut.
Great, lovely analogy. Thank you. Well, that's a brilliant presentation. Really
Thank you very much.
Many thanks, Heather.